General Motors paid out over $150 million in lawsuit settlements because of a single factory setting. A setting they knew was destroying engines for over a decade. A setting that is still enabled by default on every Chevy truck and SUV rolling off the lot today. The 5.3-liter V8 has a lifter failure rate somewhere between 2 to 5%. That does not sound like a lot until you realize how many of these trucks are on the road. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of engines that will eventually eat themselves from the inside out. Lifters seize, grind the camshaft into metal shavings, and those shavings circulate through the entire engine until everything is contaminated. Repairs run $4,000 to $15,000, sometimes more than the vehicle is worth. And GM knew. They have known since at least 2010. Internal documents from the lawsuits show their own engineers recommended design changes. General Motors made some half-hearted adjustments and kept shipping the same problematic system anyway, because it helps their fuel economy numbers look better on the window sticker. Your Chevy Silverado, Tahoe, Suburban, Colorado, Camaro, or Corvette probably has this setting enabled right now. Here are the 5 settings you need to change today. Number 5. Eco Mode. When you put your Chevy in Eco Mode, you are telling it to prioritize fuel economy over everything else. The transmission shifts into higher gears earlier, the throttle response gets lazy, and your engine runs at the lowest revolutions per minute the computer can get away with. That sounds efficient. But low revolutions per minute under load is terrible for your engine. Think of it like trying to bike up a hill in the highest gear. Yeah, you can do it, but you are straining and working way harder than necessary. Your engine does the same thing. It lugs, struggles to maintain speed, and builds up carbon deposits on the intake valves because the combustion temperatures are not high enough to burn everything off cleanly. Over time, those carbon deposits choke your engine. It cannot breathe properly, you lose power, fuel economy actually gets worse, and you end up paying for an expensive cleaning job. Even worse, Eco Mode keeps the cylinder deactivation system active more aggressively. I will get to why that matters in a minute, but the combination of low revolutions, per minute cruising, and constant cylinder deactivation is a recipe for long-term engine damage. Turn Eco Mode off. The fuel savings are maybe 1 or 2 miles per gallon, not worth slowly suffocating your engine. Number 4. Leaving tow haul mode off during normal driving. Most Chevy owners only press the tow haul button when they hook up a trailer. That is a mistake. Without tow haul engaged, your transmission is obsessed with getting into the highest gear as fast as possible. It wants to hit 8th gear or 10th gear and stay there because that is where fuel economy is best. But when you are driving up a hill into a headwind or through stop and go traffic, your engine does not have enough power in that high gear. So the transmission downshifts, then it upshifts, then it downshifts again, over and over. Imagine someone sitting in your passenger seat, rapidly clicking your shifter up and down all day long. That is what your transmission is doing to itself. Every shift is wear on the clutch packs. Every shift generates heat. Do that thousands of times and eventually something fails. General Motors' own manual says tow haul mode extends transmission life by reducing excessive shifting and preventing overheating. Those are their words. Yet the mode is off by default. When you press the tow haul button, the transmission stops hunting for that perfect high gear. It holds lower gears longer, lets the engine rev where it makes real power, and only shifts when it makes sense. Your truck feels more responsive, and your transmission is not fighting itself. Use tow haul on hills, in the city, in windy conditions, and obviously when towing. Many high-mileage owners leave it on all the time. The slightly lower fuel economy is nothing compared to a $3,000 to $8,000 transmission rebuild. Number 3. Auto Start Stop Left Enabled. Every time your Chevy shuts off at a red light and restarts when you lift your foot off the brake, that is a start cycle. Your starter motor engages, the flywheel takes the impact, and the engine bearings spin up from zero before oil pressure has a chance to build. Here is why that matters. Starting an engine is the single hardest thing you can do to it. For a brief moment, metal is touching metal without proper lubrication. The crankshaft is spinning before oil reaches the bearings. Modern trucks are built to handle this better than older vehicles, but there is still wear happening every single time. It is not zero. Now think about how often this activates. Every red light, every stop sign, every time you pause in traffic. In city driving, that can be 40, 50, 60 extra start cycles per day. Over a year, that adds up to 10 or 20,000 additional starts that your powertrain was never originally designed for. GM says their enhanced starters are rated for 150,000 cycles. Maybe, but your flywheel ring gear is still taking repeated impacts. Your bearings are still experiencing those oil-starved moments. And all of it is happening to save you maybe $3 per year in fuel. The annoying part is the system resets every time you start your truck. You have to press the button to disable it every single drive. Most people give up and leave it on. The auto stop eliminator costs about $100 and remembers your preference automatically. Plug it in once and never think about it again. Number 2, normal drive mode instead of sport. It sounds backwards, but hear me out. When your Chevy is in normal drive mode, the transmission and engine are programmed for maximum fuel efficiency. That means lazy throttle response, early upshifts, and cruising at the lowest possible RPM. We already talked about why that is bad for carbon buildup and engine lugging. Sport mode changes the personality of your truck. The throttle responds faster, the transmission holds gears longer, and the engine runs at higher RPM, where it actually makes power efficiently. Your engine is happier at 2,500 RPM than it is at 1,200 RPM under load. You do not need to drive aggressively to benefit from sport mode. It just keeps the engine in a healthier operating range, instead of constantly lugging in the name of fuel economy. General Motors did not put multiple drive modes in your truck as a gimmick. They put them there because different driving conditions call for different programming. Stop leaving your truck in normal mode all the time like it is a Prius. Use sport mode on the highway, on hills, and anytime you feel the transmission hunting between gears. Your engine will run cleaner and your transmission will shift less. Number 1. AFM or DFM cylinder deactivation left enabled. This is the setting that triggered over $150 million in class action settlements. It is the setting General Motors knew was destroying engines and covered up for years. And it is still enabled by default on your truck right now. AFM stands for Active Fuel Management. On 2019 and newer trucks, DFM stands for Dynamic Fuel Management. Both systems do the same basic thing. They shut down half of your cylinders during light cruising to save fuel. Your V8 becomes a V4 without you even knowing it. DFM is actually worse because it uses 16 collapsible lifters instead of 8, giving it more opportunities to fail. Sounds clever, but there is a catastrophic design flaw that General Motors has known about for over 15 years. Inside your engine are components called lifters. They open and close your valves thousands of times per minute. On AFM and DFM engines, some of these lifters have a special collapsible design that allows cylinders to deactivate. The problem is, these lifters fail at an alarming rate. The internal springs wear out, the locking pins get stuck, and eventually the lifter collapses when it should not. When that happens, the lifter grinds against your camshaft. Metal shavings spread through your oil system and contaminate everything. Your cam lobes get destroyed, push rods bend, and suddenly you are looking at a $4,000 to $15,000 repair bill, depending on how much damage spread before you caught it. Court documents from the lawsuits show General Motors engineers knew about this problem as early as 2010. They issued internal service bulletins to dealers. They quietly made some minor design changes. But they never fixed the fundamental flaw, and they never told customers what was happening to their engines. Instead, they kept shipping millions of trucks with the same problematic system because disabling it would hurt their fuel economy ratings on the window sticker. When owners brought trucks in under warranty with the telltale ticking noise, General Motors dealers replaced the failed lifters with the exact same defective design. So the engine would fail again. The lawsuits called this out specifically. General Motors knew the parts were defective and kept installing them anyway. The failure usually happens between 50,000 and 100,000 miles, conveniently right after your powertrain warranty expires. Some owners have reported failures as early as 4,000 miles on newer trucks that got bad batches of lifters. There is currently an NHTSA investigation covering over 800,000 vehicles. You can disable AFM and DFM with a plug-in device like the Range AFM Disabler. It costs about $200 and it keeps your engine running on all 8 cylinders all the time. The device does not modify your computer or throw codes. You can unplug it before dealer visits and they will never know it was there. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The disabler reduces how often the system cycles, but the problematic lifters are still physically installed in your engine. They can still fail even if AFM never activates. The only true permanent fix is a complete mechanical delete, where you replace all the AFM lifters with standard lifters, swap the camshaft for a non-AFM cam, and tune the computer to disable the system entirely. That runs about $2,500 to $4,000 with labor. Expensive, but cheaper than one engine repair, and it eliminates the problem for good. Every one of these changes is either free or costs a couple $100s at most. Do them today, and your Chevy will be dramatically healthier at 150,000 miles than the trucks filling up dealer service bays right now, waiting for lifter replacements and transmission rebuilds. Those owners are about to write checks for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 because nobody told them about settings they could have changed for free. If this helped you, subscribe. You do not want to miss our next video on the maintenance mistakes that send Chevy trucks to the junkyard way before their time.